Good afternoon. Today is May 12th, 2026, and this is the City of Prescott City Council voting meeting. Roll call, please.
Mayor Rusing?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fruworth?
I am here.
Councilwoman Frederickson?
Someone's told.
Here. Councilman Gambogi?
I too am here.
Councilman Gehring?
I'm just here.
Councilman Grady?
I'm just here.
And Councilman Ruby.
I, 7, am here.
All are present.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll have introductions and announcements, beginning with announcements from Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Couple of things coming up. Any bikers in the room that like to ride wheeled bikes that you pedal? All right. Residents are invited to celebrate National Bike to Work Day on Friday, May 15th by joining Mayor Kathy Rusing, city officials, and other local bicycle advisory members for a community ride to City Hall. Riders will meet at 7 a.m. behind Casa Sanchez out on Gurley for the 2-mile ride, which is all around the courthouse plaza. It's very cool. Departing promptly at 7:15. And when you get here, you'll have free coffee, juice, and donuts, and a big group photo. All riders are welcome, and helmets are encouraged. The next one, Sherwood Drive and Strickland Park Community Meeting. We are hosting our second meeting on this topic on Thursday, May 21st from 4:30 to 6:30, an open community meeting regarding Strickland Park, at Strickland Park regarding improvements to both Sherwood Drive and Strickland Park, including updated green stormwater infrastructure plans. Residents are encouraged to attend, ask questions, and share input. Copper Basin. We're having a Copper Basin area roadway improvements meeting, also on Thursday, May 21st. City invites residents to attend this open house regarding the roadway improvements project happening at Trinity Presbyterian Church between 5 and 6:30 p.m. It is a drop-in meeting, and you can come when you can, and we anticipate having some discussions on schedules and construction impacts. All right, any skateboarders here? Darn, I thought I'd get one out of the crowd. The Broken Board Skate Jam returns on Saturday, May 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Mike Fan Community Skate Park. This free, all-ages community skateboarding event will feature competitions, open skate sessions, music, vendors, food vendors, and activities celebrating youth, recreation, and the local skate culture. All right, Memorial Day closures. Monday, May 25th. In observance of Memorial Day, city offices will be closed and will reopen on Tuesday. Solid waste collection for the week will all be delayed one day for the entire week, and the transfer station is also closed on Monday and will reopen on Tuesday. The public library will also be closed on Monday and reopen on Tuesday at 9 a.m. with digital resources available on the holiday online. Also on Memorial Day, Monday the 25th, please join Yavapai County, City of Prescott, and LD1 elected officials at the Memorial Day observance honoring our fallen heroes at the historic Citizen Cemetery at 815 East Sheldon Street. Please arrive at 8:30 a.m. with the ceremony beginning promptly at 9 a.m. Parking is available on adjacent streets, mostly across the way, and parking is available at Yavapai College with shuttle runs happening between the Yavapai College parking lot and the cemetery. Seating at the cemetery is extremely limited, so attendees may want to bring a lightweight chair, and I'd also suggest an umbrella for shade. Finally, it's hot, so the seasonal watering hours are now in effect. A reminder that seasonal watering hours are now in effect through November 1st for all city potable water customers. Outdoor spray irrigation is only allowed between 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. to help conserve water, reduce evaporation. Residents can learn more about all of our water conservation programs and rebates at PrescottWater.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Now the mayor will do a recognition and ask for a moment of silence in honor of Kendall Jaspers.
Kendall seemed to be a permanent fixture downtown, and he will be missed. Kendall Warren Jaspers, 75, passed away on April 30th, 2026. His family moved to Prescott in 1960, and he started 5th grade, and he considered Prescott his hometown for the rest of his life. He attended Lincoln Elementary School, Prescott Middle School, and also Prescott High School, and he graduated in 1968 and then went on to Northern Arizona University. In 1986, Kendall owned and operated Kendall's Burgers and Ice Cream for 26 years in the same location on Cortez Street across from the courthouse. He followed that with several years as an executive director of the Prescott Downtown Partnership before retiring in 2020. Kendall worked with many organizations in Prescott, and especially those dedicated to keeping Prescott the vital and special place so dear to his heart. Among them were the Prescott Chamber of Commerce, Charlotte Hall Museum, and the Prescott Downtown Partnership. For decades, he coordinated the Christmas lighting and downtown decorations. While executive director of the Prescott Downtown Partnership, the organization took over the summer concert series and began the Flower Basket program that bears his name. He will be missed. Let's have a moment of silence in honor of Kendall and all his accomplishments. Thank you.
Now we'll have our invocation from Father Chris Pippa with Sacred Heart Roman Catholic Church, and then the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Fredrickson.
Please stand.
Good afternoon to all of you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we gather this afternoon mindful of the responsibility entrusted to our council and grateful for all who serve the people of Prescott. Grant these leaders clarity of mind, patience in discussion, and a spirit of cooperation that seeks the common good above individual preferences. Strengthen them with integrity and respect for every resident of our community. Bless the decisions made today. May they promote justice, protect the vulnerable, and foster a city where all can flourish in safety and dignity. We ask for your guidance upon this meeting and upon all who work for the well-being of Prescott. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Next up, we have proclamations, and first is National Police Week, May 11th through the 16th, presented by Councilman Gambogi.
In the 2 years I've been on city council, I've never felt so secure as I do today. So could I ask everyone with Prescott PD to come up front? That includes you, Conrad. All right, here we go. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in the communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Prescott Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,500 law enforcement officers in the United States who have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff. And whereas the police officers of the city of Prescott play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedom of citizens and visitors, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement officers, and that police officers recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the police officers of the city of Prescott have worked devotedly and selfishly on behalf of the people of the city, regardless of the peril or hazard to themselves. Now, therefore, Kathy Rusing, Mayor of the City of Prescott, does hereby proclaim May 11th to the 16th, 2026 as National Police Week, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and the communities across the nation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, every one of you.
Thank you, Councilman Gambogi, and thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, city staff, and mostly the community. As Councilman Gambogi talked about, it's not just a week to celebrate the men and women of law enforcement, but it's a week to remember those that have given the greatest sacrifice, protecting their community. And unfortunately, that's happened here in our community with our chief of police, Ken Lindley, who was killed in the line of duty. And then most recently, Sergeant Rick Lopez, the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, who was good friends to many of us. So Chief Bonnie would love to be here today. She's actually with a small contingent of our group that went to DC to participate in Police Week to honor the fallen. And so you see the men and women of the Prescott Police Department up here, and we absolutely could not do our job without support from our council, from our city management, but mostly from our community. So thank you for supporting us, because when we say that, it is absolutely the truth. We are very, very humbled to be able to serve you in this community. So thank you very much. We appreciate you.
And next, we will have Councilman Gehring doing the National Public Works Week proclamation, May 17th through the 23rd, 2026.
Can I ask all public works people and to come forward and stand in front? Stephen, were you?
They're coming in.
Okay.
I promise. There's a bunch of them.
So this is a great honor for me to be able to make this proclamation, in part because I spent 43 years as a member of the American Public Works Association. We have a little bit of a we got a big crowd. It takes a lot of people to maintain this city.
Keep coming, come on, keep going. Yep, shorty's in the front.
Oh, you did?
I did not.
Oh. Well, it's close. What?
Right. I think we're almost there.
Well, I thought we might have one or two. But it should be obvious to all of you in the audience and watching that this city simply could not operate without the dedicated people in our Public Works Department. So this is a mayoral proclamation for National Public Works Week, May 17th to the 23rd, 2026. Whereas public works officials operate and maintain infrastructure and facilities which, while providing services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health and safety, a high quality of life and well-being of the citizens of Prescott. Whereas the theme of the 2026 National Public Works Week is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community. Whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, those standing all around us here, who are workers, specialists, operators, supervisors, engineers, managers, inspectors, mechanics, and support staff who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our city's transportation and streets, water, wastewater, solid waste, and fleet systems, which are essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens of Prescott to gain knowledge and understand the importance of public works and projects and programs in the community. Now, therefore, Kathy Rusing, Mayor of the City of Prescott, does hereby proclaim the week of May 17, 2026 through May 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week to recognize the contributions which public works staff make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilman Gehring, Mayor, and members of the council for this honor today. I just want to first say that Public Works is very proud to serve along our police and fire departments in our Emergency Operations Center as part of a three-legged team. But in addition to that, I'll ask you this question. When you got up this morning, did you turn on the water to brush your teeth? Did you take a shower or flush the toilet? Did the trash guy happen to come down your block today? Did you drive here on a city street, through a traffic light or a four-way stop sign? These are the men and women that do that 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, on the hottest days and the coldest nights. So we thank them for their service to the city of Prescott, and we are proud to serve here. We have a short video that we think you might enjoy. It's about 2 minutes, so give us 2 minutes.
Every day in Prescott, before most of us are awake, work is already underway. It's in the roads we travel, the water we rely on, and the systems we rarely think about, but depend on every day. It's the planning behind every project. The roads that get you where you're going. It's keeping the neighborhoods clean. Ensuring safe drinking water. And reusing our natural resources wisely. And keeping the city's fleet running smoothly to deliver essential services. And for the things that happen behind the scenes every day to keep services on track. From all of us, we're Public Works. We're Public Works, proud to serve the citizens of Prescott. Every day in Prescott.
Thank you all.
We're off duty, so the basement of the treatment plant is always not a fun place to be. I know. Yes. It's just one of those.
As Public Works makes their way out, Mayor Rusing will come down to the podium and do a presentation recognizing Dana Cohn.
Before I give the presentation, can everyone come up? Well, not everyone. Everyone here for Dana. Or if you're an art lover of murals. Okay. And it's cone?
Yeah, dink cone, like ice cream cone.
Oh, like ice cream cone. Dana Cohn's selfless commitment to the betterment of the community in Prescott, Arizona, serves as an inspiration to our community. He has produced, as a volunteer in Prescott, or for payment far reduced from that which he could have commanded elsewhere, mural art at Prescott College, at Yavapai College, and as part of the Prescott Public Library mural and a mural at Pine Ridge Marketplace. In 2023, he produced for the city of Prescott, its residents and visitors, the longest single contiguous mural by one artist in Arizona to date. Along the trail adjacent, Granite Creek's extending along the trail adjacent to the Granite Creek Trail, extending 400 plus feet north, of the Gurley Underpass almost to Willis Street. I'm sure most of us have seen it, and it is a wonderful addition to the trail. We honor Mr. Dana Cohn, acknowledging his longstanding service to Prescott and its citizens, his dedication to and positive impact on this community, and expressing gratitude for his commitment to the city of Prescott, Arizona. I have a certificate of recognition for Dana and for your amazing mural work in the city of Prescott, your teaching of the next generation of local artists, and your commitment to the beautification of our city, signed on this 12th day of May, 2026, Mayor Kathy Rusing. Thank you. And I'm sure, I know Barbara probably needs to say a few words.
I can't stand in front of a microphone without talking. The mayor has said pretty much all of it. Dana is the best person that I've ever met to work with. He is a great artist. He has produced a lot more art since that proclamation language was written. And one of them is what's the group with the truck? The dogs.
Oh yeah, that was the dog sanctuary.
So there's a dog sanctuary, and Dana painted a mural on the truck of several of the dogs that are in that sanctuary. And he's done a couple of murals in addition to the ones that were mentioned. He's a great guy, and I really feel honored to have met him.
Does anyone want to take a picture? Somebody have a cell phone? Take a photo? We usually have our PR persons on vacation, so. Nice line up.
George is here with his camera.
There you go. And then get back to work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay. We'll move on now to our open call to the public.
Just really quick, I want to thank the mayor for allowing us to speak and list Dana's accomplishment. Thank you.
The City of Prescott welcomes public engagement. Residents may comment and address the council regarding matters that are not included on the posted agenda during the call to the public. If you wish to speak, please complete a green speaker card and submit it to me prior to the meeting being convened. As a reminder, speakers are limited to 4 minutes, and the call to the public will be limited to 40 minutes in total with the following stipulations. Citizens will be limited to addressing the council on the same topic only 4 times in total. If a topic has been addressed more than 5 times by different speakers, the mayor may limit future discussions on the topic. Topics of a primarily national concern may be limited at the discretion of the mayor, and the call to the public shall not be used to address the council on current or pending legal matters by a party or their representative. I do have 7 comment cards today, so we ask that everyone please remember to stick to their 4-minute time limit. And our first card is from Andrew Nadell.
Thank you, Mayor.
Pull that microphone around to you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Temp and council members. My name is Andrew Nadell. I'm a doctor of psychology, moved here 2 years ago, and I'm an avid senior golfer. And when I look at all of you and most of the people that have come here today, many are seniors. And my topic today seems a little silly in regards to all of the important things that have been talked about today, but you're going to have to vote on it at some point. And I'm talking about the Parks and Recreation program that was presented to you yesterday. And I'd like to speak about the tee boxes at Antelope Hills North. The idea of golf, if some of you aren't familiar with it, is to kind of beat the course and beat your own record to have fun. Parring a hole means that you score the amount of shots that is proposed for that hole. So if it's a par 4 and you par the hole, we would call it success. A birdie's better, a bogey's not as good, etc. The North course is 6,000 yards. Very, very long for seniors, ladies, and for juniors. The South course is 5,500. I was an 8 handicap a few years ago. I was a 12 when I moved here 2 years ago. Now I'm about a 20 because I can barely par a hole on the North because it's so long. So what I wanted to do, it's not just complain about that, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of information. There's 9 courses in the Prescott and Sedona area. So I want to just read a few of these. I sent you an email showing you the scorecards of the other golf courses. So the South is 55. Again, the North is 6,000. Talking Rock is 54, the shortest. Prescott Lakes is 47. Prescott Country Club is 57. Capitol Canyon, 47. Stone Ridge, 49. Again, 6,000 for the North. Sedona, Oak Creek in Sedona is 5,000. And there's a couple more, Sedona Golf Resort and Seven Canyons in Sedona, 44 and 5,000. When we add all of that up, the average is 5,000 yards. When I go to Phoenix sometimes in the winter, if it's really cold here, all the Sun City courses and all the other courses, and there's almost 100 of them, they all have tee boxes, 5,000, 5,200, 5,300, so that people like me, the ladies again, and the juniors could par a hole once in a while. So it just makes the game a lot more fun. And let's see what else. I guess that's about it. So you're going to vote on that at some point. There's been a proposal to shorten, I think, 4 boxes next year and for the year after, and I hope you can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll direct staff to make sure that our Parks and Rec director gets this information to consider. Thank you, Andrew.
And I gave it to her.
Okay, good.
Cheryl Nadell. Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. Thank you for listening to my comments as well. I'm here to essentially support what Andrew already shared with you. I am an avid amateur golfer. I've been doing it for 45 years, and I love the game of golf. Similar to what Andrew was speaking to, the game of golf is very enjoyable when you can score well. Not that I'm competitive or not that anybody else is, but being able to reach a hole and par it in the regulation that you're supposed to is fun. It's exciting. It gets harder to do based on your age. It gets harder to do for people who are recovering from different activities, different injuries. It's also very exciting for youth. Growing the game of golf is something that I'm interested in. I think a lot of people are interested in that. It is fun, it is pleasurable, it's a family sport. Short tees, shortened tees, they call them forward tees, sometimes they call them ladies tees, they call them a lot of different things. But those forward tees really enable all of us, the community as a whole, to be able to play golf and really enjoy it. I don't know the budget sheet, the finance sheet for Antelope Hills, but these changes can be done with very little cost. There's some benefits too in that it increases the pace of play. You can get to the hole faster, you can complete the hole faster. It also gives you a chance
Again, to play with all different levels of players. This can generate more revenue eventually. You can have more golfers go through the course on any given day. And it's not just the community that plays the course. This is also a destination in the summer for a lot of people in this state to come and cool off. So beautiful golf course offers not only us, but people from around the state an opportunity to, again, enjoy the game of golf. Those shorter tees, the shorter tee boxes, really enable us to do that. There are very few sports out there where you and every member of your family can go out and play it together and enjoy it. So, similar to Andrew, I ask you to consider the addition of the shorter tee boxes. It has already been proposed in the information provided by the Parks and Recs director. So with that, anybody play golf here? What? Yes. Oh, okay. Please come out. Please come out, learn the game. It's fantastic and really enjoy it here. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
James Knapp.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much. I'll keep this short because I respect you, what you do. I just wanted to make a quick note about the weather. Friday is going to be warm, but Friday morning is going to be absolutely beautiful. On the way to the bike ride is the absolute best time you can have in Prescott when the streets are empty and it's crisp and clear. So I hope you can all come and join us for the ride to work with the mayor on Friday. If you're not a bike rider, please come and join us anyway. We'd love to see more city leadership there because being known now as a trails town and a bicycle-friendly community, there's a lot of people for whom bicycling is very important and they'd like to share their enthusiasm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Timothy Brown.
Mayor Rusing, City Council members, thank you for taking the time to listen to a little bit more about Antelope Hills, and I appreciate the problems of getting older and playing golf, trust me. My name is Tim Brown. I'm the president of Mile High Men's Golf Club. I'm one of the 5 regular golf clubs that play at Antelope Hills almost every day of the week, and I want to start this off by giving you some facts about Antelope Hills. Last year, there were 87,000 rounds of golf played at Antelope Hills. It's open to the general public. It's one of our real treasures of the city of Prescott. And it is a summer refuge for the golfers from Phoenix. We don't charge them nearly enough money like they charge us when we go south in the winter, but we can take care of that. Just to be sure, we host over 60 annual events at Antelope Hills, including the father-son tournament, which is 450 players, the Outhouse Open, Embry-Riddle Fall Classic, the High Desert Chino Valley High School Invitational, and several other ones. It is also the training center for Prescott and Chino high schools, for the Embry-Riddle University, for Tri-City, Trinity Christian, PGA Junior League, PGA Hope. I just want to go over a little bit about the relationship between Troon Golf and the city of Prescott. There's an agreement. Troon Golf manages the golf course operations. By that, they manage the golf shop. They manage the operation of the driving ranges and the likes. So they golf course operations, the range, the sport areas, the bars and the restaurants, they operate all those things. But the city maintains responsibility for the facilities, including the clubhouse, the Centennial Center, all the course bathrooms, the course maintenance equipment. Altogether, Troon Golf employs 88 people for the town of Prescott. Last year, Antelope Hills generated about $5 million in revenues for the city of Prescott, including about $350,000 that went to the purchase of the effluent water from the sewage treatment plant. Good for both of us. In return, the city council over the past 5 years has spent about $1 million on golf carts, maybe $800,000 over the past 5 years on maintenance equipment. It amounts to about $350,000 a year in expenses to the city of Prescott in return for the $5 million of revenue that they get. My concerns here have to do with getting vision of the Antelope Golf Course and how it pertains to the city in general. The city's in the process of doing its next master plan, I believe. Current planning process is based on a survey that was done that ended, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And that survey is now complete. There are about 437 participants in that plan. I don't know how the distribution list for that plan went out. I don't know how it was publicized. I do know, as active as I am in the golf course, I do know that I didn't hear anything about that survey until it was closed. There's no mention in that survey of anything to do with Antelope Hills Golf Course. There is mention of disc golf, which is where you throw the Frisbee into a bucket. And there's mention of golf lessons. But there are no mention of how or where these golf lessons would take place and how the town would like to support that. So I want to know how the requirements to support the city obligations to Troon Golf and the Antelope Golf Course is going to get into the master plan. Apparently there's no more Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, correct? Been disbanded. It has been replaced by the Civic Enhancement Committee. Is that committee supposed to speak on behalf of the golf course, as well as the other facilities such as the hiking trails, doggy parks, ball fields, and the pickleball courts? I believe it is. Our experience with the committee indicates they have no interest in Antelope Hills. We have tried to contact them. We've tried to communicate with them. We get absolutely no response. No mention of anything that I can find in preparation for the next master plan for the city. So in short, how can we as a golfing community help? How can we be involved? We have several people who are willing and eager to serve on the Civic Enhancement Committee. All you got to do is ask. Or anyone else, or anywhere else in the city government on a voluntary basis. They will help out in this regard. So how do we get an ear with the current planning board, current planning commission, so that this great public facility is included in the next master plan? That's all I've got.
Joseph Govier.
Howdy. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. He tricked me into this. Okay. I ditto everything he just said. Okay. I'm not prepared for this, but I'll just make this really quick. I've been a member of the Antelope Hills Men's Golf Club that started in 1958. Okay. I am the current president. I've been on the board of directors for 15 years. 7 years as the president, and I'm almost done, so I don't want to deal with it anymore, but the golf course is a jewel to me. We have 260 members. We got 10 people on a wait list to join us. People are coming to us from other clubs. Okay, they're tired of dealing with the management there, and they're coming to us. So I just wanted to lay out a positive thing to say. The members of the Antelope Hills Men's Golf Club enjoy the course. We play winter, summer, and everything in between. It'll be 30 degrees out there, and we're playing. We have membership that goes from 50 years old to 90, okay? And they're a good group of people. So that's all I have to say, but I did what he said. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Feather Levy.
Hi there. My name's Feather. My pronouns are they, them. And today I'm talking about a subject that might be difficult for some to hear in the room. I am so grateful for the queer pride that exists in Prescott. And I'm here today to ask for the creation of more safe spaces for American freedom to continue to proliferate. I've been walking downtown, as we all do, and I've heard people openly using the F slur, faggot, to refer to people who dress alternatively. And this directly counteracts American freedom. We are all free in this country to be ourselves. And yet I've clearly seen that this is not the case. And so, as city council members, people who are committed to upholding the American dream, please consider creating more spaces and showing that you are committed to this cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Feather.
Nancy Burns.
Hi. My name is Nancy Burns. I'm a retired psychologist here in Prescott. I've been here for 31 years. I'm not really prepared either because I just found out when I sat down to read the paper at lunch at 1 o'clock about the issue with Friendly Pines. So I wanted to share with the council my little brief history with Friendly Pines and hope that you consider the situation out there with a lot of thought before you make decisions. I know it's not on the agenda yet, but it looks like it will be in the future. My first interaction with Friendly Pines was with Big Brothers Big Sisters back in 1995. My little brother Chris and I went out there for the weekend. We stayed in a cabin. I didn't stay exactly with the boys, but we were out there in cabins together. I was his big for the weekend. We had lots of fun. I don't remember everything about it, but it was wonderful. And a while after that, I was out there with the Women's Center, which is no longer operating here either. Big Brothers Big Sisters is, of course. And we had a wonderful retreat out there over the weekend. I was under the impression that it was a nonprofit at that time. I don't know if it was. I don't really know that much about Friendly Pines. All I remember is when I moved here, it seemed like it was a valuable resource to the city. And this morning I'm reading about it being babysitting for people who can afford $6,600 a month to put their child there. And that's because it's run by a profit organization. If it switched from being nonprofit to profit sometime, it wasn't something I ever knew about. But since the city has about half of the property out there, and again, I don't know what the connection is. I don't understand the leases. I'm willing to find out more about this and work with people on finding out what the economic value of I know there's a lot to know that I don't know, but it's out in the middle of the Bradshaws where it could be a source of a fire. It's across from West Spruce Mountain, which is a great hiking experience. It's down the road from Camp Kendall, which is a historical site. And if Wolf Creek Falls ever runs again, our only really big waterfall here in Prescott, we own some primo property out there as a city, and I think we should be really, really careful with how we handle it. Thank you. Oh, and I'm for a pool. I don't golf, and Feather has done more for Prescott in the short time that she's been here than anybody I've ever known. She is a Prescott treasure. Bye.
Thank you, Nancy.
That's all, Mayor.
Okay, next item.
Consent agenda.
Is anyone going to pull anything from the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda 9A, B, and C.
Second.
Please vote.
Passes 7-0. And our next item is consent ordinance, adoption of ordinance number 2026-1944, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, authorizing the granting of a utility easement to Arizona Public Service Company for a new utility service on city property, authorizing the mayor and staff to execute any and all documents to effectuate said underground utility easement.
Any discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve consent ordinance 10A.
Second.
Please vote.
Passes 7-0.
Next item.
Public hearing and consideration for an owner transfer Series 7 beer and wine bar liquor license application from Thomas Francis Moore III, applicant for Back Alley Wine Bar, location 156 South Montezuma Street, E. The application fee has been paid and the sign has been posted for the required 20 days. Staff has reviewed the application and determined that it is in compliance and no public comments have been received.
Is the applicant here? Any discussion? I move to close the public hearing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Please vote.
Passes 7-0.
I move to approve liquor license application number 390911 for an owner transfer Series 7 beer and wine bar liquor license for Back Alley Wine Bar, location 156 South Montezuma Street, number E. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Please vote.
Passes 7-0. Next item is a presentation and discussion related to code updates for section 2-1-8 regarding sewer requirements for water service.
Before we get started, I would just like to let the public know I became aware of this situation where people had water meter boxes and water mains right out in front of their vacant lots, right on their property lines, and they were unable to hook up to them. And Board of Supervisor Chris Kuknio called me last year about it, and it was brought to his attention by a constituent. So we did some research into it, and here we are.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm Brian Reese. I'm the Water Resources Manager here for the city. And today this item is looking at our current code 2-1-8, addressing water outside the city limits. Item is for discussion only. So I'm here to give you a presentation on what we have, the information that we have at this point in time, so that we can ask you how you would like, if you would like to act further on this issue, and if you need any other information from staff. So with that, this slide shows our current city code 2.1-8 language. Part A talks about the area out, the water surface outside of the city limits, and what the city can do for serving water outside the city limits, and what is prohibited, which is serving water to a water improvement district or any special districts. We're going to focus on Part B, which is the one single-family residential exemption to allow water to be served outside city limits. Currently, the way you can achieve that exemption is you have to connect to sewer.
Let me make a correction. We have our city limit boundary, but we also have a boundary called the water service area boundary. And these properties are located within that boundary. It's in the county, but it is a legal entity that allows us to serve water in that area.
Oops. Back up one. Okay, so here's the issue. Through the years, we've had multiple water policies that have allowed water outside city limits or not allow water outside the city limits. Based on that, we have existing water lines outside of our city limits that serve homes that do not have a water service obligation. 2.1.8 tried to provide some limitations on the city serving water outside the city limits, and it has done that. But it has also created a bit of a patchwork of areas, some areas where water is already served, and then there's lots that can't be served. Some of the properties, as the mayor said, have water boxes that were installed on their property line. Water Resources receives numerous calls every year on this, and we do a lot of research to try to figure out exactly what the individual situation is for each of these. And these neighborhoods, as the mayor said, are within the city service area because of the proximity to the water line. So they're outside the city limits, but they're within the city service area. So what are some of the concerns that we have? Setting precedent, right? Looking at having this snowball into something that extends and creates more water than we really wanted it to be, or it starts to go out of control. Consistency and fairness, how we've dealt with this issue in the past, and making sure that we're doing things that make sense. And then there's the no sewer return. There's the fact that if we allow these parcels to connect, we will not get that sewer return because there are no sewers in the area for them to connect to. So these are all legitimate concerns. And that's why we're here to talk today, and that's why staff tried to create an analysis so that we could figure out what we want to do in this situation, or maybe what we don't want to do in this situation. So we're going to go over that analysis in a little bit, but before that, let's talk about what these parcels can currently do to get water. So they can drill a well. They can haul water. They might be able to form a reimbursement district, sewer district, extend the sewer lines within the properties, and then apply for the exemption from 2.18 as it exists currently. And they could annex into the city. So some of these alternatives work for some of the parcels on these lists, or may not work for some of these parcels on the list. We know that drilling well is a possibility that it may produce water or may not produce water based on the location of these lots. Hauling water is a way to receive water. I consider it kind of the last resort way to receive water from a management standpoint. And it should be noted that if they do haul water, it's more than likely they're going to be hauling it from a city standpipe. So it's going to be city water anyway. Sewer reimbursement districts, again, the proximity of these parcels to sewer lines, the geography of the ground underneath them, and the topography of the area around them can lead to this being a possibility or being basically not feasible. And then annexation. I would say that we've looked at annexation for most on the list. We'll talk a little bit more when we get to the example. But annexation, I would say, for most of these parcels on the list, challenging at best. Most of these parcels are not adjacent to city limits, which is a requirement. In order for them to be able to annex, they're going to have to do one of two things. They're going to have to be able to convince the city to annex roads that they're adjacent to into the city and take over maintenance responsibilities of those roads from the county, which I think is going to be a challenge. Or they're going to have to convince, some other ones would have to convince their neighbors to join them into the annexation so that they could get to the proximity they needed to adjacent to the city in order to annex in. And by and far, most of those neighbors already have water, so that's going to be a very challenging thing. So given that, our exercise that city staff did, our research objective, we wanted to explore the alternatives for city water service to parcels that don't have existing obligations, to subdivisions and neighborhoods where water is already being served by the city to these existing customers. So we created this analysis. We got together with GIS and we prepared the maps that were in your agenda packets. The water line so this analysis, the first thing we did is we found water line locations outside the city limits. And then the number of parcels that were adjacent to this water line. And then through this analysis, what we settled on is we chose a 300-foot distance from sewer as a distance that creates a feasible ability to connect to a sewer line. We had to pick a number, right? So at the end of the day, we settled at 300 feet. If there's a lot that was on our list or on our maps that was over 300 feet from the sewer, it continued through the analysis. If it was within 300 feet of a sewer line, it was removed from the list. The number of parcels, then we looked at those parcels that already had an obligation to serve. If we have an obligation to serve from them, there's no need for them to be on this list. They were removed. Then that basically left the parcels that could benefit from this code change. And then the last thing is we looked at, of those remaining parcels, how many of them were accounted for already in our designation of assured supply. In other words, we had assumed we were going to supply them water anyway, and they were committed to the city to serve. So with that created the maps that were in your agenda packet. So this is the overall map here. On those maps, all the parcels that were in red, they were the ones that have had obligations to serve. So there's 317 of them on there. We didn't leave them on to confuse you. We left them on because we wanted to just let you see around the areas these parcels we're going to look at, how many of them had already obligations, and you could make your own opinion on what that means, but it just shows kind of the full story of these areas. We ended up at the end of our analysis with 53 parcels on our list, and those are in yellow on the maps. When you see an orange dot, that indicated that of those 53 parcels, those were the ones that were included in our assured water supply. There was 19 of those. And then on any of the maps, the green dots show existing customers already being served water around those areas.
Brian, I have a question. Originally, when we started exploring these lots, weren't there a lot more?
There were.
You had like 140?
164 to start, and then down to 150, and now we're down to 53. Yeah, and that leads me to my next slide, really. When we first brought this topic up to the Water Issues Subcommittee, we were at 164 lots. And then when we brought it back up the second time, we were down to about, I think it was 150, or maybe 150, a little over that. Now we're down to 53. We've looked at this analysis multiple times. The objection was to try to look at these areas that were a patchwork of communities and neighborhoods that at one time had water, but then they don't have water availability anymore. With that, we whittled out any type of lots that just happened to be adjacent to a water line that was a transmission line that was serving a community somewhere else. There was no evidence of water service within those areas. We found some lots that were in sewer reimbursement districts. At the time that that district was created, the owners of the lots were given the chance to enter into that reimbursement district and contribute to that sewer line and get connected, and those owners chose not to. So at that point, we took them off the lot. There was a chance at that point to already receive exemption from 2.1.8 as is, and the choice was made not to connect into sewer at that point in time. Those lots are adjacent to sewer. They're not adjacent to sewer, but there's sewer in proximity to them. So there's some opportunity for them now to extend those sewer lines. And then a bulk of the area or the lots that were removed came from Granite Gardens and from Forbeam Park. And these were two communities that we were looking at the time. Why did we remove them from the analysis? We found out that both of these areas have environmental concerns due to septic tanks. Back in 1973, or not 1973, but I think it was, I don't have the exact date, but I think it was in the early 80s, might have been the mid 80s. The Environmental Protection Agency provided funding and a program to extend water and sewer to Granite Gardens for the specific purpose of environmental health concerns due to the water and the septic systems in that area. Forbeam Park right now is being evaluated by the EPA and Yavapai County to see if they can help them eliminate some septic tank cesspool issues that are going on in the neighborhood that could potentially be contaminating their drinking water on the wells. We couldn't, if we were to add these to the list, we would be allowing these lots to connect to city water without connecting to city sewer, which would mean their only alternative would be a septic tank. And we could be contributing to some potential problems that have already been identified. So with that, we had to remove them from the list. So of the 53 remaining, if you were to so choose to move forward with some path forward to getting water for these lots, these are staff recommendations. We look at the ability to connect to existing city water mains without extension of water mains. The whole point of this exercise was not to extend city water mains. So basically, the lots on this list, the 53, all have the ability to extend just water services from the existing water line to their homes without extending water mains. So it's not an exercise to extend our water system. Sufficient water pressure and water quantity to adequately serve the area. If we have any doubt as staff that the lines might not be adequate for service, there would have to be proper engineering study to ensure that we're not jeopardizing service to the existing customers. Requests for all requesters are responsible for all cost of utilities needed to serve their property. Requesters being responsible for the permitting and the impact fees for connecting to water. Existing wells on the property would need to be abandoned through Arizona Department of Water Resources. And any additional lots created through lot splits after adoption of this code change or whatever policy the council may go with will not qualify for any exemptions if they create new lots from a split. The city would set aside 9 acre-feet of water for these 53 parcels. 19 of them are already accounted for in our assured water supply. So what city benefits may occur if you move forward with this? Well, we would collect impact fees from these areas that already have existing water lines. We would not have to create any more water lines to collect those impact fees. There would be a 30-cent surcharge per city code above in-city rates for all customers who came in on this. Above that 30% surcharge, they would be subject to the city's tiered rate structure, which promotes conservation. Potential increase in groundwater allowance from any wells abandoned as they did come in for city water. And potential for reduction of staff time based on inquiries, a simpler system. Cleanup of various service areas so we didn't have such a patchwork. And an ability to understand if council moved forward with this, we'd set aside 9 acre-feet in our portfolio for this. And we would know that it would be coming and we would move on to other challenges. So that leads into the alternatives that we kind of put together as just a start for you to think about. Alternative 1, code revision with list of eligible parcels. We take the 53 or whatever we come up with at the end of this exercise. We put them into a list. We provide a legal description of each of those parcels so we know exactly where those parcels are located and the size of each parcel so that we know if they've ever been split or if there have been any change to them in the future. And then we would revise code to add an exemption for that list of parcels. Alternative number 2, water service contract with individual parcels. We don't do a whole lot of water service contracts anymore, but we've done them in the past. I don't think there's any reason we can't do them if council so choose to do an individual water service contract with each one of these particular parcels. Alternative 3, code revision that would allow council to act on individual exemption requests. If you wanted to hear from each of the individuals on a unique basis and make a decision based on each individual circumstance, that's an alternative you could choose if you so please. Alternative 4, code revision with exemption language provided to WIS, Water Issues Subcommittee. When I went to WIS back in March, I provided some language on a potential code change that would utilize a GIS map to identify the parcels that would be allowed to use that exemption. Quite frankly, our legal team didn't think that map might be the best way to go. It might be confusing. It might be too easy to get for parcels to change and maybe not be noticed. So I would say that if you were considering any of these alternatives, alternative 4 has pretty much kind of transitioned to alternative number 1, which is probably a better way to handle this. And then alternative number 5 is do nothing. Maintain the current code and policies and procedures, and annexation would be required for water, or people would need to figure a way to connect to our sewer. So with that, that's the information that I have for you today. Again, this was only for discussion. So if you would like staff to evaluate anything or if you could give us direction on how you'd like to proceed, that's the way we'd like to go with it. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you have.
Well, I'd like to start off the discussion. I feel that we should do something for these lot holders. They, in good faith, bought these lots. They assumed that there was water since the box was right there on the property line, and there's a water line there. The neighbors have service. And, you know, for example, Vista del Cerro went in 1976. And as we know with Prescott Lakes, you know, that's only a 20-year-old subdivision, and there's missing amendments, missing paperwork. And it's not unusual in these older subdivisions where it was kind of the wild, wild west and people didn't really pay too much attention to the paperwork. And I happen to have the water service agreement for Vista del Cerro, and in section 2, this was made between the city and the developer, Mr. George Fagan, and it says, the city expressly reserves the right to enter into future water service agreements or provide water service for or to lands additional to those included in the water service areas as defined herein. And then goes on, second party shall have no interest whatsoever in such future extensions. That's Mr. Fagan. And it goes on with some boilerplate. So clearly, you know, there was, according to this agreement, there was plans for a phase 2, because phase 1 has the 39 lots and then phase 2 has the 10 lots, but nobody can actually find, you know, a recorded agreement. But in the original agreement, it does say that there was an intent to provide water to additional lots. So we have a situation where people would like to become members of our community, build their dream homes. We have to be careful that we don't open a Pandora's box here. And this is an unintentional consequence of our 2022 water policy that was looking at collecting treated effluent for recharge. So I'd like to start with Mr. Gambogi, if he would like to start a discussion here.
Brian, I want to publicly compliment you for showing the initiative to investigate this. And I think this is one of the most common sense proposals. You know, I'm all for, if you want water, you got to give us wastewater. But I've toured Vista del Cerro. I walked it. I counted, I think, 4 fire hydrants, Conrad, so they can put the fires out. And I looked at the water boxes. I think the mayor's right. Something must have slipped through the cracks years ago. So I think this is a common sense solution. It allows us to clear the decks of what's reasonable, and then we can move on with a more standard water policy. So thank you for doing this hard work. This is like a textbook example of common sense prevailing over some righteous ideologues in our water policy. So thanks a lot.
Mr. Gehring?
Before I answer, I'd like to ask Mr. Young what his thoughts are on precedent.
It's always a concern in terms of precedent. That was our kind of main issue with the previous draft. It was a little bit too vague, and it leaves open the argument of different people who could apply. That's why I think it really comes down here, and it depends on what council says. Then we'll need to draft something that applies. But that's why it's important how we draft it and what council wants and what's council's reasoning to do so. I think it needs to be clear why some properties make it an exemption and why others will not. Because regardless of what happens today, there'll be properties who presumably get an exemption and properties that won't. And we're going to have to make it clear why some will and some will not.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I agree with Councilmember Gambogi.
Patrick?
So thank you for the presentation. Remind me how many are still excluded? It may be the wrong thing to say. So you started out with a certain number of parcels based on citizen requests and analysis, et cetera, and now we're down to
53.
Right. So what did we start off with?
164.
Okay. So I'm, Mayor, just listening to what people's responses are today. I have not decided.
Okay, thank you. Lois?
I certainly appreciate the list going from 163 down to 54, so that we're down at 9 acre feet versus what it could have been at 27 acre feet.
Yeah.
I'm still concerned about sewer, and so I don't have a final decision, but I'm not a definite yes at this point either.
Mary?
I'm generally in favor. I would like to have some further guardrails. I appreciate the list of parcels that y'all have come up with. Some language of and no others, something to indicate that this is not going to be extended further, that these were of a particular cluster of facts that are not going to be applied to others, even if they feel in their heart that it should be. So I'm not sure what legal language could be included, but essentially it's just that thought of these and no others. Just for clarification, can you tell me the others who are outside the city limits in, for example, Vista del Cerro, are they currently also paying the 30% surcharge?
Yes, they should be.
Okay.
Per code.
what was my other, oh, you answered the question about the wells. I wasn't sure if they were going to be required to be abandoned.
Yes.
But that is part of it also.
And if I may, in terms of your question, and no others, that language hasn't been drafted, but it's clear, it's going to be clear that it would relate to infrastructure built before 2022, right? And that's the situation that we're in. The infrastructure is built up to these property lines and has been before the policy came into place that requires them to also be attached to sewer. So that's along the lines of where no others would be applied.
And you know, when I first saw this language by some people from Vista del Cerro who wanted to tell me about this issue coming up, I told them that the language of adjacent to water lines. And I said to them, well, what does that mean? Does that mean like the water line is within 10 feet of their lot line? What about 100 feet of their lot line? Has that been, when you were paring down the list of parcels from 160 whatever down to 53 now, was there some calculation about how far away from a water line we would consider adjacent?
Yeah, so adjacent means basically they don't have to go through any other parcels in order to extend a water service. So basically from their parcel at some point, they can extend a service line and connect into an existing water line. Most of the time it's in a road. Sometimes it might be in an easement. I think probably, I don't know if there's any of those left. There was at the time when it was a larger list. But yeah, the analysis, this was not an exercise to extend water mains. Let me put it that way. So if the lot was able to connect to an existing water lane that was adjacent to their lot, so in other words, they didn't have to go through another lot in order to do it, that was one of the qualifying measures.
I guess the whole adjacent issue came up into my mind again when I was looking at your map, specifically of Vista del Cerro, where there were those two lots essentially bordering on the Iron Springs.
Yes.
That didn't have the little magic dot on it.
Right.
But it was such a small little piece of other people's lots that the line would have to go through. But that's enough to say, nope, you're not adjacent?
Those are yellow, and they are included in the 53. And the reason is instead of going through the private road of Vista del Cerro, they could access a water line on Iron Springs Road. I got with our city engineer and our public works department to ensure that there wasn't an extension of the water line needed in that particular situation. And those two lots met it by the narrowest hair of a margin to stay in that analysis.
Right. Councilmember Fruworth is just pointing out to me the water line that is adjacent to Iron Springs Road.
Yeah.
Of those two lots that I'm looking at, I don't know, you could call that adjacent because the water line is barely up to the point of the yellow lots. But so take your assessment.
They share a driveway. And again, this is the narrowest of margins, but given their shared driveway, they could extend through the one that you're talking about that is adjacent by a margin, bring that service line in and connect both from that service line. Again, got with the city engineer, it's not something that we like to do, but we have precedent in the city of doing it for others. So those two lots made it by the narrowest of margin.
Thank you, and I appreciate the fine detail work that you had to go through in order to come up with this list.
Mr. Ruby.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for putting this all together. I think in general, the principle of getting sewer water returned, because when you say 9 acre feet a year, I think I saw a statistic in this report that we get about 70% of that back in general for recovered acre feet from our wastewater. In this case, we're not going to be getting that back. I'm curious over time, like the cost of getting sewer there. I've just heard it described as impossible. And so for me, is it like, what is that cost? I still would like to kind of get a sense. I saw something like 1.125 million in Vista del Cerro, but these, like, there's these 53 plots, they're not all in the same place, right?
No, they're not.
Scattered around
They're
the
scattered
city.
around, yes.
How many different clusters are there?
Oh, let's take a quick look. So basically, you can see with the red, I know that this map is too small, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'd say 5 clusters there of areas. Yeah.
Got it.
Somehow I jumped right over this slide in the presentation. Sorry about that. It was in your presentation package, but yeah, just real quick on the sewer analysis. The way we did it is we did an unsewered study back in 2020 for these areas. And it's interesting. The unsewered study fell almost exactly over the areas that these 53 parcels came in, plus included a few other areas. They had 13 areas in the unsewered study. And they quantified the cost that it would be to bring in sewer to those unsewered areas. The total cost of that project at the time, back in 2020, was $86 million to get everything sewered in. The total amount of water that would be potentially reclaimed and brought back in so the city could use it in its portfolio was 405 acre feet for the $86 million. So the way that I came up with the one—
Is that annual acre feet? 400?
Yes, because as a renewable resource, because you'll be continuing to get it back, you would be able to obtain 405 acre feet on an annual basis.
So like over 10 years, that would be 4,050 acre feet.
And over 100 years, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. The way I came up with this sewer cost for Vista del Cerro was I took that 2020 study and I found the linear footage of costs for the sewer line, and then applied it to Vista del Cerro's case. It's about a half a mile away from their existing subdivision. And then I inflated that cost based on CPI plus an additional adjustment factor because large infrastructure projects have outpaced CPI over the last 6 years. So that cost right there is based on that analysis. It's a high-level cost. It's not a detailed cost at this point in time, but I ran it through our Public Works CIP manager just to make sure that it was reasonable, and he believed it was reasonable, a ballpark figure. And that's how we're getting the cost for that sewer. I do believe that for all the other areas, extending that same type of analysis would give you an idea of the sewer cost for basically all of these. I don't think there's any of these areas where the sewer cost is much lower in order to get it to their particular area. So I think it's representative is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Would that bring, so that's for the 53 units, if that type of sewer project was done, would it bring in more units than 53?
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a 1.25 million would just be to be able to get the yellow parcels you're seeing on this map, and you'd have to run a similar type of sewer for all of the other clusters too to get those back. And all of them are included in that unsewered study that we did in 2020. The total cost in that study was approximately 3,300 parcels that they looked at. The cost to get them the sewer was $86 million. And then adjusted for today's price, about $115 million.
And the other houses that are there, the other plots that are not yellow, are they on sewer right now?
No, they're not.
So not a single unit in this area is on sewer?
Not a single unit. The green dots all represent existing water customers from the city.
So putting sewer in isn't just for these places, it could be for the entire area.
It could. You'd have to convince those people to connect to sewer even though they already have water and a septic tank.
Because in that case, the estimation of acre feet returned would be much greater.
You could potentially, if you could convince those people to connect to sewer, you could get more return.
You made mention of the lots that are close to Iron Springs and that you can tap directly into the water main there instead of the blue line, right?
The two lots, let's see if I can do this. Is it this one? Yeah. These two lots right here.
Yeah.
They're not part of Vista del Cerro subdivision. Oh. And they could connect in with a service line that came in here, goes through the shared driveway to connect to this guy, and then through the shared driveway to connect to that adjacent lot.
So if they get connected to the water line there, is it less difficult to also connect a sewer line?
The sewer line is half a mile away down towards Prescott on Iron Springs Road to the east or southeast.
That's far. You'd say the 300 foot is the determination. This is probably more of a legal question. I think maybe it was explained, but we put it in as 300 feet, and then there's somebody that's only 200 feet from that 300 feet. Does this get shut down at that point, or can then someone later claim, well, you did it within 300 feet for them, and now I'm with 300 feet of that line? How would that work, Joe?
No, the 300 feet is from the sewer. So the sewer line doesn't get extended by this. So I don't think it'd be impacted. But that's why I really think, to the extent we want to do this, and council give direction on it, we need to make it clear which ones apply. It's sort of a one-time thing. Infrastructure already built will be the determining factor on who is entitled to this.
Why don't we have their attorney write this up and then take a look at it? I mean, we're getting questions like, is God so powerful he can make a rock so big he can't lift it? We have a proposal. Let's go through it.
Any more questions, Mr. Ruby?
Annexation. We'd have to get everybody from the neighborhood to buy into annexation.
Yeah, I mean, in this particular case, the problem is that in green right here, that's city limits, but Iron Springs Road is a Yavapai County road. So this would have to be annexed in with the annexation. They're contiguous in this respect, so I don't think they would have to get, and this may be a question for legal, I don't think they'd have to get the others to go into that annexation, but they'd have to convince the city to annex in Iron Springs Road, and that would be a huge commitment for the city, because we'd have to take over responsibilities of maintenance of that road. So that's the issue with this particular one. The issues for all the other ones are fairly similar. A lot of them are not adjacent to the to city limits, but they have neighbors who are. They would have to convince those neighbors to join them in the annexation so that they meet that requirement. But those neighbors already have water, so they'd have to convince the neighbors to annex into the city for the benefit of them getting water when the neighbors already have water. So that's where I see almost all the challenges on this. I will say this, there is one lot out of the 53 that is adjacent to the city limits and probably could use an annexation in order to get water for that. I kept them in there because other than that, they're in the same boat as everybody else on this list. That's the only difference. And they'd have to go in with a single parcel annexation.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, Kelsey Sakor.
Hi, good afternoon. So my name is Kelsey Secor. I'm a lifelong resident of Prescott. I was born and raised here. My husband and I are both graduate of Prescott High School, and we are raising our children here. It has always been our dream to build our forever home in the town that we love. Last spring, we purchased a lot on Midnight Drive, right up the road from my husband's grandparents' house, which was kind of sweet. And we're also one of the 53. So like many local families, we have worked hard to make this possible in a community that continues to become increasingly difficult for young families. This issue is not political for our family. It is deeply personal. This is about whether we can build a home and remain in the community where we were raised and where we are raising our children. Currently, we are in a complete pause on building our house because we're waiting for the outcome of this issue. So from the beginning, we have tried to follow every step of the city's process in good faith. We understand and support the commitment to responsible water management. We recognize water as a limited resource, and we respect the city's efforts to protect it for current and future residents. However, in our case, the current policy leaves us with no practical path forward. Our subdivision was originally developed with water service agreements that did not require sewer service. As a result, nearly every surrounding home in our neighborhood today operates on city water and private septic systems. Over time, the rules have changed, and because of those later policy changes, families like ours who own one of the remaining undeveloped lots have unintentionally been left in a very difficult position. There is an existing water main directly along our property easement. When we approached the city about connecting to the water line at our property boundary, we were informed that we would first need to extend city sewer approximately 1,200 feet and return 75% of the water served back through that sewer system. That requirement is estimated to cost just for our lot anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000, and it would require us serving or securing multiple easements across neighboring properties. For a single-family home, that is simply not financially or logistically feasible. At that point, we're deciding, do we build a house or do we pull sewer? If we pull sewer, we can't build a house. So I also want to address some information that has circulated primarily around our family. So my husband and I are not asking the city to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring sewer to our property. We are not asking for taxpayer-funded infrastructure. We are asking, or what we are asking is much more limited and reasonable, that the city consider amending the sewer requirement for water service under Code 218 in situations where city water already exists directly at the property line. We have explored every alternative available to us. We drilled a well nearly 700 feet deep and still could not obtain sufficient water. At this point, our only remaining practical option would be hauling water. And if we must haul water, it will come from the city's bulk water station, meaning we would be hauling city water to a property that already has a city water line at the property boundary. From both a conservation and infrastructure standpoint, that outcome seems counterintuitive. We will be using city water either way. A few council members have previously mentioned annexation into the city as a possible solution. Respectfully, annexation is not a realistic or feasible option for our family. Our property is one of the last remaining undeveloped lots in a subdivision where the surrounding homes already receive city water service while operating on septic systems. Even if we could annex, which we're not eligible for, we would still face the exact same requirement to extend the sewer approximately 1,200 feet at a cost exceeding $200,000 for one single family home. Annexation would not solve the underlying issue. So we are not asking to bypass water policy. We are asking for flexibility and common sense where infrastructure already exists. So connecting to the water line at our property is not the most practical solution for our family, but also the most logical solution for the city. It avoids unnecessary hauling, reduces truck traffic, ensures regulated and metered water use, and utilizes infrastructure that is already in place. So I respectfully ask the council to review this code and consider amending the sewer return requirement as it applies to properties like us. Option one is the best one in our opinion. So I would like to thank all of you for your time, especially those of you who've responded to emails, who've met with us, who've taken time to really listen to how this policy is affecting current residents. I want to thank you for your service and for your consideration in changing this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Larry Fagan.
Hello, my name's Larry Fagan, and my father was the developer of Vista del Cerro. And I wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to look into this issue. And it's obviously got a lot of finer points on it of how to deal with this. Phase 1 did have a water agreement, and Phase 2 we couldn't locate that, and they looked everywhere. They looked at the company that surveyed. He'd retired, but they went through his storage unit and looked. My dad was really trying hard to get sewer there because it's so much easier to sell the lots. A lot of people are scared off if they have to have a private septic system. And that wasn't feasible. But I think he was looking to extend it from further out Iron Springs Road back, but things probably have changed. And when they installed the water main for Phase 2, the city requested that it be a larger diameter. So they put that in. All of the lines from the water main go to a meter box to every one of those lots. Both of the phases were in the designated area water supply. At least 2 of our lot owners have had financial impact waiting for this to come up some kind of solution. And so I think there was a clear intent from the water mains being extended. The city had to be aware of that. They took over the responsibility for those, and the water mains were there. All the neighbors got signed up, no problem. So I think the intent was very clear, and it's also in the one of those 19. So I think it was clear that it was intended to be there, and I think it's just one of those things that. And it turned out to be very complex once you got looking into it. But when the new rules were set up, it was just an unintended consequence of some of these weird outliers. So I would, and I really appreciate you guys. I think you guys had a really long day, been sitting here all along. But anyway, I'd like you to consider approving alternate 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fick.
Lester Fournier.
Yeah, thank you. Don't mind me. I'm a little slow. I want to thank the Mayor Pro Tem, City Council for even consideration of listening to what's going on here relative to Vista del Cerro. I acquired the lot over 3 decades ago, personally from Phil Fagan. He and I discussed these very issues, sewer as well as water. He assured me there was water and said, you can put in a sewer system, not a sewer system, but leach lines. And with that, I felt more comfortable. And with that, I purchased the property. A variety of things happened that resulted in my not developing the property. Not that I hadn't intended to. I am currently and have been a current resident of the city of Prescott for over 30 years because I ended up buying alternate properties for a reason. Got house designed and architecturally approved, then got a contractor to estimate the cost of building on lot 43, which is one of the 10 that's being discussed specifically in Vista del Cerro. The reason that it was not built is that, I guess maybe I should never have gone there, I don't know. But at any rate, the builder passed away after providing the estimate, and we were looking at retirement. And I said, okay, alternatively, let's look elsewhere. We found and have bought several houses within Prescott. And as I say, I'm a current resident. At any rate, right now I have been left high and dry, no pun intended, with this lot, which probably doesn't have a hell of a lot of value any longer if we do not have water. I am assured you cannot drill wells for a variety of reasons, and even if we did, that would not be replacing the water back to the through the city water system. So with that in mind, I think that reasonably with neighbors on both sides who have water because they built. They already have water, but they don't have sewer. It's appropriate for you to consider alternate one to conclude all of these efforts that have been going on. And I know the water department must have spent a lot of time on this. It's obvious from the presentation. I do appreciate that fact and hope that you can consider alternate one as a solution to this very, very, I call it a small problem for you, but a hell of a big problem for me. Thank you.
Howard Mechanic.
Thank you, Lester.
Mayor and Council, I've never opposed providing water to these parcels, and I appreciate the city cutting back on the number. That was a big cutback, so it was worth the extra time to get into this from the last Water Issues Committee meeting. I'm glad the city looked into it further. I just have a couple points that I'd like to make. One is there should be an agreement with any party that gets water that does not have sewer that they cannot use any potable water for exterior use. There's a precedent for that, for the city to ask that there be no turf using city water. I was asked by the city 7 years ago to sign such an agreement, which is what I did. And I think this is necessary if we're providing water to these parties, that none of it be used for exterior use. They can use gray water under state law, and they can use rainwater under state law. So if they want to use water outside, they can do that, but not potable water. These parcels, as discussed at the Water Issues Committee, many of them are basically worthless, and you've heard that today. At the Water Issues Committee, one party's, I think it's a gentleman here who's a president of the HOA, and has said there were a couple people who just wanted to walk away from their property. They didn't even want to pay homeowners fees every year. The property was so worthless. So in the past, people have come to the city asking for the city to do something for them. And I'm not opposed for the city to help these people. The question is, what is fair? There is nothing in here like other times when people have asked for things from the city never asks for anything in return. Nothing. No fees. The water they're getting can provide for 3 homes, for each home that has no recharge. If you provide it to 3 other homes, you'll have 3 people coming in here, and the city has limited water supplies. The aquifer is depleting every year. So the water these people are getting is probably, there's a good chance that other people won't be able to get it. People who want to build 3 homes instead of one of these homes. They're not recharging. Every citizen in the city who is using water pays a sewer fee. There should be an in lieu sewer fee for these people. They should not pay less than the average person pays. There are many people in the city who have homes who are paying $100 a month for sewer fee. These people won't have sewer, but we're paying to recharge the aquifer. They are going to be using water that will not recharge the aquifer and should be paying in lieu sewer fee. And it should be more than the average sewer charge. I understand they're going to have septic systems, and you can say, well, why should they pay another fee besides putting in septic? The reason they should pay another fee is they are different than everybody else. They're not recharging 70% of their water. they need to pay a fee more than the average person who is paying to recharge our aquifer. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
That's all, Mayor.
Okay, this item was for discussion only. There won't be a vote. Lois, did you have another comment?
I did. For the next time you do come back with a vote, I can't, with my bad old eyes, I can't see all these neighborhoods, and you only gave us 2 or 3 neighborhood maps. So could we please have every single one of them for the record of these maps, including all the ones down in the south and stuff that we haven't seen the details of?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I thought we had them all there. I'll confirm that you have all the maps. But
Yeah,
I
no.
thought you had the area. It's there, you know, with the 53 reductions, quite a bit less than previous. I'll make sure that you have all the maps.
I just want to know when we're voting,
Yeah.
we're crystal clear on what we're voting for.
I hear you.
And then the second thing for me, given what we began to see with the budget yesterday, with the amount of water and wastewater infrastructure that we need to fund and bonds and all the other things that we're going to have to do for this community, I think Howard's onto something here with some other help if we could get it financially. And he said 100. I just went and looked at my last 6 months, and of course they went up in January. So my home is paying about $66 a month for sewer. So he's not out of the ballpark, but I think he's a little high. But I do think there's something worth noodling about here to help us, because we're going to need every resident helping us with keeping our water and sewer systems going in the next few decades. So there's something worth thinking about, and I appreciate the idea, Howard.
Okay, are we finished and ready to move on to the next topic? Oh, Jay.
I just wanted to reemphasize what Lois and Howard just said. Everyone who contributes to our wastewater, that benefits everyone who is getting water. So even though these folks might not be attached to sewer, helping to pay for wastewater helps everyone.
I think we need to give our attorney some direction. You put up how many alternatives? 5?
5 alternatives.
I would recommend he start writing up on alternative 1.
I vote for, I'm not voting, but I suggest that I agree with alternative 1.
So what I'm hearing is staff should investigate and try to move forward with alternative 1. Thank you.
And thank you for all your research. Okay, item B.
Adoption of ordinance number 2026-1943, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending Title VI, Chapter 6-2, Section 6-2-1 of the Prescott City Code by adopting the public record documents entitled 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code and Section 6-2-2 of the Prescott City Code by adopting the public record entitled Amendments to the 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code, adding a severance clause and establishing an effective date, and adoption of Resolution number 2026-1983, adopting the 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code.
Point of order, is this a voting item?
It is.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and members of council. Anthony Valdez, I currently serve as the Division Chief of Community Risk Management in the Fire Department, which also includes serving as your City Fire Marshal. It's an honor to be before you this afternoon to present the proposed adoption of the 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code, or as I will hopefully say more often, the IWUIC, for your consideration for adoption. As we have visited this topic a fair amount in the last few months, this is a recap and not as a thorough of a presentation as we did in study session, but as a recap to the journey that we've been on. We've been on about a 9-month journey in the process of adopting the 2024 edition of the IWUIC, starting back in 2025, in early 2025, receiving a lot of feedback on how to maybe propose different changes in how we're enforcing the IWUIC in the city. Up to the September of 25, when we were considering and proposing the adopting of all the other international codes in the city, we elected to pull the IWUIC out of that series of codes in order to give it the attention that it deserves and be able to provide enough time and opportunity for community and stakeholder feedback. And so through that, we have done quite a bit of work in reaching out to the community and trying to receive that feedback as best as we could through many different opportunities. And the timeline is before you, but it leads us into today and for your consideration on adopting the 2024 edition. We held several public engagement meetings or opportunities to include formal presentations to community members at varying locations and varying times in the community. We also formally presented on 2 different radio shows in the community, in addition to presenting as much as we could at the farmers market on February 7th and so forth. And that included general community input and stakeholder feedback, in addition to partnering with the YCCA and receiving very specific feedback from the contractor, builder, and architect industry here locally. We met several different parties through that. Obviously, we met with the YCC executive director many times, and she was of great help in helping us navigate this critical task, in addition to meeting with the elected board of the YCCA to have these conversations, specifically to hear their concerns from the current practices as well as what we were trying to propose for consideration. And that included meeting with our building department and community development leadership and so forth. We also partnered with Central Arizona Fire and Medical Authority in exploring how they were looking at potentially adopting the IWUIC. And as I had mentioned in the past, they have initiated that process within their fire protection district, as we both understand and know that both of our areas influence each other and help each other in reducing the risk in our community as a whole. We presented formally to the Fire Board of Appeals, who had full support of what we were trying to accomplish. And in addition, from the study session, I wanted to call out that we did send our amendments to the United States Forest Service and the Prescott National Forest, as well as our partners at Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management, or DFFM, for their input and consideration. And we did not receive anything back from the U.S. Forest Service. However, we did receive full support from DFFM and in our innovation of how we were applying the code moving forward. As we discussed before, we advertised in several areas, our social media channels. YCCA sent out a mailing to several hundred members throughout the community. And after one of our stakeholder meetings, we had a pretty lengthy Daily Courier article that was published in February. That was helpful in trying to get the message out to the community as well. And as far as feedback opportunities, we had opportunity for people to provide us feedback via in-person, via email, phone, QR survey, and at the end of all of our presentations, we had a Q&A opportunity during that time. I also wanted to just note from the study session a change that we were under ARS 9806, which is the ARS that outlines the process in which we need to follow for adopting the Wildland Urban Interface Code in our community, and wanted to just ensure that you all were informed that we met all the compliance issues with that, or I'm sorry, the compliance items within that statute. So one of the things I promised you was an example of what the risk modeling software was going to accomplish and look like. This is not our community. but I'm not positive that our community will look any different than this once the modeling is done. We are in final contract negotiations with the vendor of choice. We have selected Vibrant Planet Pyrologics as our risk modeling software partner. We're hoping to have a full contract with them by June 1st. They have assured us that we should have the model back to us for the purposes of the IWOIC enforcement within 3 to 4 weeks. So we're pretty excited about that. We did an extensive and elaborate vetting of our 2 top vendors and landed with Pyrologics due to their long history of providing this type of modeling to varying communities around the country. In addition to, they have a pretty extensive cadre of professionals with a lot of initials and letters after their names and are very well known in the data science around wildland risk in the country. So we're really excited, but this is something that what the map will look like, one of the products that they are expected to provide to us. This will translate into something that's a little bit more consumable by the general public. We're working with our city GIS. Matter of fact, we're meeting with the vendor and our GIS on Thursday, as well as other members of our IT department, to lay out exactly what and how we're going to present this to the community. But as of right now, it's going to be proposed as a public-facing GIS portal where folks can be able to go on, specifically our designers and our contractors and so forth, when they're determining what level of risk that the certain parcel will fall into, which will translate into the level of ignition-resistant construction that will be applicable for that parcel. So this slide I will not go through again. This is identical to what we went through in the study session and other meetings that we have had. However, I just wanted to include and state that all of the items in this are included in the proposed amendments that were in your packet and for your consideration. All of it is very thoroughly included in those amendments. And that is all I have for you today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I would like to draw our attention to Exhibit B, where we have the list of all the codes. I know we went over the codes before, but I just have need some clarification. Let me get to, yeah, it starts, the codes for the rest of the council is page 152 of the packet there, the section 152 of 168, Exhibit B. And if you turn to page 160, section 505.2, roof assembly. My question is, like, hypothetical. So I live in Prescott. I have a lot of hail damage. I have a roofer come out and I need my roof replaced. So under this code, he's going to put a Class A roof, fire-resistant roof, right?
Correct.
Okay. But when I'm looking at this code here, it talks about, concrete, clay, slate, metal sheets, and shingles. But it talks about ferrous or copper shingles, metal sheets and shingles, but it doesn't mention like the asphalt type shingles that can be Class A. I was wondering is that like an oversight? Do you think the regular shingles should be in there that are Class A, fire resistant?
So the Class A shingles that you're referring to, Madam Mayor, are included within the ASTM E108 or UL 790 testing that's in the guiding language of 505.2. So those are tested to those standards and meet those standards, and so therefore they qualify for that.
Okay, alrighty, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then moving on to page 162, section 602.1, general. An approved automatic sprinkler system shall be installed in all occupancies in new buildings. I asked that question before, and you said there were, because of our code, there were some subdivisions were going to be exempt. close to a fire hydrant or something like Hidden Hills, only half of Hidden Hills is sprinkled and the other half isn't because of some code. But right here it says all new buildings are going to have sprinklers.
So this particular amendment was addressing and guiding those that are utilizing the IWIC back to the city Prescott Fire Code. So the fire code has specific provisions as to when sprinklers are required, whether in a commercial building or in a single family residence. So instead of trying to keep up with the correlation between the two codes, since they both cover that specific topic, we just wanted to amend it to refer it back to the city fire code, because that's the one that really guides all of our amended provisions in requiring sprinklers in buildings.
Does anyone else have any comments? I support this. I mean, we have to face the facts that we need to not only harden certain homes. I live in a WUI, Wildland, urban interface district, but we need to, so my house is hardened, but we need to harden the whole community.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Need to face that. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
Madam Mayor, it gives me great pleasure to make the motion to adopt ordinance number 2026-1943 and resolution number 2026-1983 adopting the 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code.
Second.
Please vote.
I will.
Rather than saying whoopee from now on.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, and thank you very much for your hard work and keeping us safe.
Thank you.
Mayor, you need to adjourn the meeting.
This meeting is adjourned.